Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo. Today we are going to be making some pendants with these beads that I got from Jesse James Beads. By the way, we're doing two necklaces. One, I'm actually just going to take you on a tour of how I put together the main part of it, and then we will hang it on a chain. But the second one we will actually do together. So this first pendant here, I used some of this enamel chain in sage, and this bead has a hole that goes through the middle here, so I just put a little tiny seed bead. Then I took some of the enamel chain, put it on a head pin. Then I put this bead on, and then as I was feeding the head pin up, I wrapped this up there, found one of the holes there, and just thread it through there. And then I just made a simple little loop. So after I had everything intact, I thought, well, I could hang it just by itself, but I wanted to give it a little bit more oomph, I guess you could say. And I had these two really pretty crystals that came in the on the bead strand and across the pond. But I wanted some more, a little bit more bling and beads. And I also wanted to mix my metals. So far, all I had used was pretty much the gold, except for the tiny seed beads and my head pin. And mixing the metals really didn't make sense at that point. So I dug around in some of my Jesse James beads, and I remembered that I had the bead mix in rainbow water ice mini. I think it's called bead mix and rainbow water ice mini. I think that's what it was called. And they have these tiny little butterflies that were in gold tone, and then they had silver tone rondelle crystals. I thought, oh, that'll be perfect. So that's how I came up with this. By the way, all these beads and components and stuff, the chain, if you're interested, I will leave information down in the description box below as to where you can find them on Jesse James Beads. I really like the way this pendant came out. And we got a little bit of movement there. And now all we need to do is hang it on some chain. And I'm going to use this textured chain here. And I'm going to need some jump rings. And, you know, I may use some of the stainless steel that I have. I want this to be a dainty piece. I think I'm going to use this stainless steel Rollo chain instead. And I have some little bitty jump rings. Whoops, I don't know if you heard that, but I just had something fall. Interesting. All right, these are 5mm jump rings. I'm going to need a ruler. Need to make sure I measure everything accurately. And I have a ruler that's 18 inches. I really like to use that. All right. I'm actually going to need 4 jump rings, and I'm going to need a clasp, so I'm going to use this lobster claw. It works. So the first thing I want to do is open up my jump rings and feed it onto my chain. Close it up. Then I need to start doing some measuring. I want to make sure that we have an 18-inch necklace. Let's see, I think this is probably going to wind up being roughly an inch, it looks like. Set those aside. So I'm going to measure at a little over 17 inches, allow for my cutting. I had to go get my memory wire cutters. I didn't want to mess these guys up. All right. Let me remeasure here. Okay, that's good. Okay. Same thing on this side. One thing, when you're working with more delicate jewelry, it's really hard to see sometimes. And you also need to make sure you got everything closed up. You don't have any gaps. All right, so I got that hung, and now I just need to determine the middle, which is an estimate. And then I'm just going to take my memory wire cutters and cut just one of those links. One thing about the memory wire cutters, they're not pointy like the other ones, and so it is a little bit more difficult to do intricate work like this. I got it. I had to put a little bit closer to my eyes. But that being said, you need to make sure you either wear eye protective gear or you cover up that area because your little piece can fly. Mine did. So that's just a word of warning. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is put on our clasp, and we have us a necklace. And then I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the other little pendant. Go ahead and hang the clasp. And let me make sure this is going to fit. I think it will. Yep, it will. We're all done. And basically what I would do now is just kind of form this how you want it. Here, let me put it on for you and I'll show you what it looks like on. And there it is on. Personally, I would like it a little shorter. Most people don't like it as short as I do. I'm more of a 16-inch gal. But this turned out really pretty cool. I love the movement there. And you know, if you didn't want this, you could turn it around. Actually, you just do like that. There you go. That's what it looks like on the other side. So it's almost like you have two necklaces in one here. Now let's go make the other pendant. Have no idea what I'm going to do, but we'll come up with something. All right, so I'm going to use this flat bead here. Whoops. These two little green crystals. And that's it. I've got some 20 gauge wire. I'm going to put one of the crystals on and then the flat bead. I need to make sure how I want this to set. Do I want it to hang like this? Yeah. I want this to be the top. Okay, so I have all my beads on. I'm going to draw out my wire and I want to do a wrap here, and then a wrap here, and then this I'm going to make my bail and do a messy wrap. So first thing I'm going to do is draw up my wire. and just do a wrap. I'm going to go ahead and take these off for now. And I do like to keep my wire on my spool because I really don't know how much I'm going to use. And you do need to be careful when you do this that you don't crack your bead, because if you're not careful, you can do that. And see how I have it kind of wrapped around my bead? That's what I want. All right. So let me put my bead back on how I want it. There we go. Slide it down. And I can go probably another loop around. All right, now I want to come up here, like that. And this is a little fiddly. I'm going to wrap around a couple times. And I want this to be messy. All right, and then I got the bead on there. See how that's coming along? And you're going to wrap around the crystal. And you're going to go around a couple times. Let me go ahead and clip. Probably clip there because I want to go around a couple times. In a messy way. And you can either use your hands or your pliers to wrap. And once you got it wrapped how you want it, you may have a little bit left over. You may need to trim it. I'm just going to tuck it in because I will have some of this that I'm going to have left over, and that will kind of hide that a little bit. Let me tuck it in just a little bit more. Okay. So far this is what we have. So now we're going to make the bail, and so I'm going to use the fatter part of my round nose pliers, and if you have some bail pliers that would be good too, but I'm just going to use these for now. And just wrap, do some more wrapping. And just put it wherever you think it needs to go and tuck it in. Like I said, make sure you're really careful not to crack your bead. You don't want to be right over your bead. And once you got everything tucked in, feel it around and make sure you don't have anything sticking out. You can leave it like this, or I like to make a little squiggly design there. And the way you do that, and this is, you've got to be very careful, you take your pliers and you just carefully twist. And that kind of tightens things up a little bit too. And there you have your pendant. And you can just hang it on an existing chain. So instead of making earrings like I originally thought I was going to, I've got 2 pendants. Aren't they pretty? Which one's your favorite? I like the movement to that one. Let me know down in the description box below. And like I said, if you're interested in any of these beads or other beads from Jessie James, all the information's down in the description box. I hope you all have a fantastically wonderful day. This is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo signing out for now. Bye-bye.